Coming off of a great month of July, August is looking primed for these three key narratives. In this video, I'm going to go over the three narratives I am trading for upside in the month of August and why I think we could see a very explosive month of August. If we see ETH reclaim new highs as well as Bitcoin continue to climb, I think altcoins are going to begin their run. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
And before we get started, guys, be sure to drop down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more. Every single week here on In the Game, we have you covered 4 to 5 times a week on everything you need to win in this market across all major sectors. As well, a big shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have some incredible sponsors from Blowfin as well as 𝗪𝗔, 𝗪𝗏𝗪, and Everreach Labs. You can check out more information down below in the description, and we'll talk about some of our exchange partners here later in the video. But let's just go ahead and dive right into it, guys. We started off this week pretty hot. I mean, looking at the chart right here, let me just go to the trading feature here on 𝗪𝗪s, and we can check out the Ethereum chart specifically. We were up at 39.53 this morning at the highest levels on this wick, and it was looking pretty bullish to start the day. We saw a little bit of a pullback, but I think this is very promising for what is to come in the month of August. We are seeing the adoption tenfold on altcoins like Ethereum specifically, with Sharplink Gaming, for example, now holding more ETH than the entire Ethereum Foundation. This is looking very well for altcoins, and I like this tweet here. There's one reason I believe alts will make an explosive move soon. ETH is now the catch-up trade for Bitcoin, which ran from 2.4 to 3.8K when Bitcoin broke out from 110 to 120. So imagine these levels if Bitcoin breaks out to 130, 140, 150. It's going to accelerate pretty quickly here, and then it's going to start to feel like if you don't have enough exposure to your favorite coins, well, I should have been allocating during times when it was slow or when it's showing times of heating up. Like the dominance has dropped, week over week. We've seen Bitcoin dominance dropping, Ethereum rising. We've seen Solana. We see BNB hitting all-time highs, which I didn't have that on my bingo card before Ethereum hits all-time highs, but here we are as BNB is reaching a new all-time high. We have Metaplanet and other treasury companies still buying up loads of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin drives higher, despite the fact that, at that time, Bitcoin dominance could rise slightly, that just bodes well for the market because the other coins are going to be playing catch up at the same time. And on top of that, as much as people don't talk about it enough, stablecoins are one of the biggest signs of growth in crypto, and the stablecoin market cap and transactions are going parabolic with all of the acts that the US is putting in force about stablecoins and regulation and just more onboarding between Tether and Circle. This is a very, very bullish factor as there is more dry powder out there ready to deploy and buy Bitcoin and buy altcoins. And right now, I'm looking across the board in August. One of the narratives that I'm going to give you guys is basically a low budget or, almost you could put $100 into it and it could return you something because it is not even live yet, and it could give you free tokens for a very hyped protocol who their sister/brother or parent token has been pumping parabolically over the course of the last week. So you're gonna want to stick around for all of the narratives we are about to go over because there are 3 key narratives that I am eyeing for the month of August as far as trading and capitalizing on. I see the market moving towards these different narratives, so we're about to dive into those right now. But before we do, be sure if you need a place to execute all of your trades, be sure to check out Blowfin down below in the description. We have an amazing sign-up bonus to get free stable coins and free trades based on how much you deposit or how much you're trading across the board on Blowfin. So check out Blowfin down below in the description, and also check out 𝗪𝗪s. We have every pair, 300 plus pairs as far as crypto, up to 40x leverage, as well as stocks, major markets, equities, gold, silver, etc. So I'll leave links down below in the description for Blowfin as well as 𝗪𝗪s. So let's just go ahead and dive into the 3 narratives that I am super keyed in on. And number 1 at this point in time is not any different from July. And we called this narrative to a T in the month of July, because if we look at the coins that we have been isolating in this narrative, first and foremost, we see the fact that on the weekly chart, KTA, which we were giving you guys in the 60 cent, 70 cent levels, is now trading above $1. This was one of my favorite DeFi plays in the entire sector. And we really only had 2 DeFi coins that we were heavy into. We gave you guys 𝗕𝗑 as well as, of course, Black Hole. Now, Black Hole has been a major success in this market. We have multiple tutorials, videos going over this. But more importantly, I think that these coins are primed this month, because if we just look at some of the metrics, and we'll talk about what's going on Avalanche as a proxy to this, but we see DeFi TVL passing $2 billion on Avalanche for the first time since 2022. A large part of this is, of course, due to Black Hole. We see their TVL reach $2 billion. Thank you, Black Hole. Chain is averaging 15 million daily transactions this month, which is also absolutely crushing. And that's because people are participating on these different protocols like a Black Hole, and recent filings for Avalanche ETFs by Van Eck have made us all bullish. And of course, to me, the most important thing is the way it makes you feel, right? The DeFi niche is supposed to make you feel euphoric, have FOMO, but at the same time, it's fun. Like, I love jumping in there. It's almost a game in itself, trying to maximize my yield across platforms like Black Hole, and then getting my compound interest on 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, for example. So if you checked out last video, you know what I'm talking about. If you want to know how to maximize your yield on Black Hole, you can check out the previous video on the channel. But Black Hole gives me 2021 vibes, right? Like Phantom DeFi, if you guys remember, that was just like one of the most insane time periods in DeFi. Of course, that wasn't sustainable, but there's nothing about Black Hole's protocol that is unsustainable. It's just LPs at this point in time. It's not some Ponzi metric, and the token price has been pretty steady around this $1.20 level. And I imagine if we start to see Avalanche climb, which, by the way, AVAX this morning was looking pretty good. It was at about $27, currently back down at $25.64. Once AVAX starts to break out, I definitely expect ecosystem coins underneath it to do very well. We see today a new milestone as Grove, a big property development type of project. Here we see a big asset manager, you could say, launches an RWA target deployment, introducing Grove.finance and $373 billion asset under management asset manager Janus Henderson to the growing RWA ecosystem. So this is massive, a big tokenized fund, and RWA's exposure on Avalanche nearly doubles with this move. So for me, there are too much things going on AVAX to fade at this point in time, and it's one of those coins that hasn't had a major run yet. And as far as DeFi as well, I'm looking at 𝗬𝗎 quite heavily. And obviously, you guys know I like Hyperliquid, but Hyperliquid's pretty, obviously it's at $44. A lot of people still feel like it's a little too high to be buying just if you've missed this run so far, but there's a lot of opportunities on Hyper EVM. But just looking at 𝗬𝗎, the stablecoin growth, the 𝗬𝗎 lend platforms, all the different DeFi going on also on the 𝗬𝗎 network, just the growth across the board. I would have to say my two favorite ecosystems for DeFi right now are AVAX and 𝗬𝗎, but most importantly, my biggest trade that I am taking right now going into the month of August is Black Hole. Like, I think even though people are yielding on this platform currently, I really do think that this has so much upside in the tank at this point in time, and I think $2 plus is imminent. So I am definitely trading DeFi going into the month of August. And also, above else, as far as coin appreciation, I mean, you can just go into these platforms and make money. There's nothing better than going into something and just purely making money. And that's what Black Hole is at this point, 500 to 1,000% APRs. And if you go over to 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, it auto compounds for 10,000+% APR. It's pretty ridiculous at this point in time. So whether you're just buying and selling these coins for profit or you are wanting to get involved, I think DeFi is a narrative you have to be playing around with, just due to the fact that it purely makes you money. And what a concept in crypto in the fact that, you know, over time, we've seen the meme coin cycle, the AI agent cycle. We've seen all these weird come and go narratives. Even gaming at some point didn't make too much sense, right? A lot of these companies do not make money, right? And what a concept, like I said, we go into the stock market and we ask all these companies, well, number one, show us your balance sheets. What are your numbers? What are your growth? We even give projections every quarter to see, are they hitting their numbers? Is this worth investing in, you know, Nvidia earnings and etc. So what a concept to take over to crypto. And my second narrative, and people are lining up at the door for projects like this right now, is revenue drivers and also who cycle that revenue into buybacks. There are no better projects in crypto than the ones that are willing to put their balls on the line. No, you know, sorry to, you know, be explicit there a little bit, but, you know, put it on the table and say, here's our revenue and we're buying back this many tokens every single month or every day, whatever the case is. This has been a big success marker for projects like Hyperliquid. We see Black Hole's going to be doing this with the Super token. And I mean, that makes a lot of sense. They've made almost $700,000, $800,000 in fees over the course of their first 2 weeks being live. So that model just makes sense. So obviously you could look at something like Hyperliquid. You could look at Black Hole and Super. Those file into that category. But also just going down the line here, the big example in the industry this last few weeks has been Pump Fund versus Bonk. And we see here the weekly revenue for Pump Fund just hit a 1-year low, which is down 95% from the peak. So people have been pivoting to other plays, such as, of course, we go look here at Bonk, which is up 134% just this month. And then we go also look at another one that is pretty under the radar at this point in time, but has been pumping like crazy because of their affiliation with Bonk. And it's actually on a decent dip right now. If we see here, it got up to almost $7, now back at $5. This is GP, Graphite Protocol. Not a lot of people are talking about this on the timeline, but a member of my community actually called this one super early over in TTOO. And yes, it is NFT season. So if you want to get involved with our group, you can simply scoop up a TTOO and get involved with the community, all the alpha, all the strategies and the coins that we're getting into, etc. But one of the members of the community spotted this one super early, and it's undervalued at this point in time because they own a major portion and are the tech provider behind Bonk's token launcher. And Soulport Tom is the owner of GP. So Let's Bonk is doing 112 million in 24 hour and 80% of the Solana meme coin market share currently. They've done 1.4 million in fees the last 24 hours, and 7.6% of that goes right back into buybacks of the GP token. That is a model that just works. If you're making money hand over fist in crypto, the companies that are willing to put it right back and inject it into the chart and give back to their community, that is a major narrative, especially after the pre-sale cycle that we just went through. And if you're not familiar, all the coins, I'm just going to go pick a random one out of a hat that is just, it was a very hype one, okay? Actually, let's choose a real flop of a project here, because even though people would make fun of maybe Portal last year, you know, it gone nothing but down ever since launch. I mean, this one was probably the most disappointing. I mean, this thing went from this is down 99.99% over the last year. This was Block Games. It was supposed to be super hyped, but this is how most charts look of new launches, because they don't make revenue, they have no business model, and it's extractive. They came into crypto to raise money and exit. That is simply it. So when you see a protocol like Graphite or like going into like Bonk, they're putting money into their top pairs, Hyperliquid, Black Hole, etc. They're willing to put their money right back into the chart because they have confidence, and also they know that's community building at its finest in Web3, because instead of taking the money and running, they're putting it right back into the project, which is absolute strength in this market. So I love that. Another one that's doing similar things is Block Street, and they're built on USD1, which is from like World Liberty Fi, kind of like a beta play. I think this one could hit $1 billion this cycle, currently sitting at $186 million. And then just moving on down the ladder, there's not just high level exchanges doing this or DeFi protocols. We see Wilderworld announcing their buybacks, ecosystem-wide alignment, focus on economic strength and sustainability. I absolutely love this from Wilderworld, and they're one of the few teams that can sustainably do buybacks. It's up 40% on the week and 200% on the month, and we've been covering this narrative quite extensively. But some of the ones I don't feel that have moved so far. Number one is WAGMI Games in August. Their revenue model is going right back into the chart, so this could be a very good trade as well. As we go look at the WAGMI Games chart, this one is sitting at about a $15 million market cap, fully diluted, and I think this is going to rally hard whenever they start injecting into this chart. But my number one revenue play and also buyback play going into the month of August is 𝗥𝗄𝗄𝗥. Just talking with this team, knowing some of the things that are around the corner and some of the plans here with their backing with Swissborg, they're one of the few gaming projects that is still way up from whenever they launched. They're sitting at a $17 million circulating market cap. And we just look here, it's a token with growing utility, used for governance, reward programs, and benefits from revenue-based buybacks. I know they're about to inject the chart hard, and that's what you want to see. And at a $17 million market cap, it's really not going to take too much money and too much revenue to start driving that chart upward. And the 𝗥𝗄𝗄𝗥 community rallies behind this like crazy. So for me, this is one of the best plays in not only buybacks, but probably in the top 2-3 of gaming coins that I'd be willing to stick my neck out there and say I would be buying in this market. So 𝗥𝗄𝗄𝗥 would absolutely be the number one pick in this niche as far as the gaming buyback realm. I do think that Blockstreet is still undervalued. I think Graphite Protocol is going to continue to do numbers. And then the black hole super effect, I think, are both still very undervalued in this niche. And then the third one, the third niche that I am trading heading into August, and this one is not even live yet. So we gave you guys Black Hole. We've talked about this narrative before, but we have never seen the Abstract team hype up Abstract August quite like they have. Like, it feels like maybe this is the month where they announce a token or they announce airdrop criterias or something of the sort. And it's really good timing. If we just go take a look at, obviously, their premier ecosystem play, which is Pudgy Penguins and Pengu, this thing is the best performing asset ever since, this bottom here. This was at 0.004. And it's literally done a 10x since then. So Pengu has been one of the best trades from the bottom of this market. And they're hyping up quite a lot that is going to be Abstract August. All signs to me point that it's going to be an announcement about the token. Like, that is what everyone's waiting for at this point in time. And we've been talking about since day one to make sure you're just being active across Abstract. And there's so many ways you can do it. Literally deposit $100 and go play around with some games like Gigaverse or On-Chain Heroes or something of that sort. There's plenty of games to choose from. There's new ones coming out with Proof of Play doing their Proof of Play arcade. This looks like it's coming on August 7th. So about a week and a half from now or so, this should be live. One of the better and more sustainable gaming ecosystems out there. And that's pretty hard to say because gaming has not been too sustainable at this point in time. But there's so much you can do. Go buy $50 of a couple meme coins and you'll get XP every week. Trade in and out of coins on Abstract. Whatever the case is, there's a lot of ways to simply earn XP on Abstract. And I do think with a TGE coming up, we just saw it with Black Hole. There's nothing better than when people get a ton of free money to play around with. And I think Abstract is next in line as far as the airdrop hierarchy. And I honestly think Abstract is obviously going to be more hyped than what Black Hole, was able to accomplish. And I think a lot of people faded Black Hole, unfortunately. But this is one I think you have to have exposure to. I would rack up XP. If you're in a position to be holding a Pudgy or a little Pudgy or a fishing rod, you probably will get an airdrop here as well. So I'm definitely looking in for Abstract August and just maximizing. I hold a ton of meme coins just for the XP and just for the vibes across the board whenever it comes to Abstract. And I hold Pengu on Abstract as well. So this has been boding well for me. I play games like Gigaverse. I've played On-Chain Heroes many times. So this is one of those things where I'm just stacking XP consistently, and I think August could be the month where this has a payoff. So guys, let me know in the description or in the comments down below, about what are you trading heading into August? Do you think gaming's going to have a resurgence? RWA, DeFi, major chain layers, just Ethereum? I want to know your thoughts as to what you're prioritizing heading into the month of August. I think the three narratives we just gave you between DeFi, as well as abstract, and of course, revenue layers doing buybacks. I think those are really leading the market right now. And I think in August, they're even going to get hotter just given the climate. And I do think that we're going to see Bitcoin take a little bit of a rise. We're going to see Ethereum cross that 4K mark and actually stay there. And I think that's going to stimulate altcoins quite nicely. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll see you on the next one. As always, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and of course, stay bullish, my friends.